do some housekeeping first. We are recording the webinar today, just so you all know, and I'm going to post that on our YouTube and send the link out to everyone that RSVP'd. So if you want to look back at your notes and check out what we did before, just check out that link to the recording of the webinar later. And then a couple other pieces, and I see that all of you have pretty much figured this out, but I wanted to give a quick tutorial for anyone that's new to Microsoft Teams, where some functionality is. I took some screenshots of my screen earlier this morning to kind of show you the functionality. But how you mute your microphone is this button at the screen when you hover over it in Teams. So whenever you're not talking during the presentation, please mute your microphone to minimize background noise for everyone's experience. If you'd like to turn on and off your video, you can do that with this functionality. And feel free to do whatever you are comfortable with, but especially during our question and answer at the end of the webinar, I'd love to see some more of your smiling faces out there. The chat function is this button. It pulls up a sidebar. During my presentation, if you have any questions, I'd appreciate if you put them in the chat bar, as that would be the most helpful to me. Oops. And then if you have a question during our Q&A section and want to just talk on the microphone, please raise your hand during the Q&A. And so this is the raise your hand option. So that's just a quick piece there. I'm going to invite a couple more folks into our meeting. And to start out with, I just wanted to introduce myself. I work for SeedLinked. I'm a co-founder of SeedLinked, and I'm also an avid gardener. I think that's where it all started. I've been gardening, doing vegetable gardening for about 11 years now. And here on the left is a picture of my backyard when my wife and I bought our house 4 years ago. And then this is an aerial photo that a neighbor took of our backyard last summer. And so we just turned the whole backyard into a vegetable garden. And I just wanted to share that with you, is that I'm not some computer programmer who isn't into gardening. I'm one of you. I love to grow things. I love to eat, and I'm just really excited about kind of fusing gardening with different technologies to kind of help people find what's going to grow best for them. And so that's all I wanted to share with that PowerPoint. And then I'm just going to screen share for the rest of the webinar. And here I have a couple more people that I need to add into the meeting. And so I'm on the SeedLinked homepage right now, and I just want to give a quick overview to what SeedLinked actually is. We're a startup business, and we're based in Viroqua, Wisconsin, which is close to Madison, Wisconsin. It was started by my friend and coworker Nicolas Angelbert. He has his PhD in plant breeding, and he's originally from France. In the process of doing a lot of breeding work, he realized that there was a lot of data related to what performs good in certain locations that wasn't getting all the way through the pipeline to gardeners and farmers and helping inform them what new varieties are out there and which ones might grow best for them. And so he had this idea of creating a platform for everyone in the seed kind of seed chain, essentially, farmers, gardeners, seed companies, seed producers, seed breeders, chefs, and trying to get them to collaborate and aggregate performance data in one location. And that's where SeedLinked has come from. We're a very mission-driven business to just increase transparency and connection with seeds. And we believe that every seed has a story, and we would just want to highlight that seed or that story and help people learn more about it and help them make the best decision for finding the right seed for them. So that's a little bit about SeedLinked. And now I'm just going to get into the agenda that we have today, and that's mainly to go over all the functionality on SeedLinked from the perspective of a farmer or a gardener. how you can use it. And I am going to start out just by talking about our web platform. We also have mobile apps, and I'll screen share from my mobile phone later in the presentation to show you how to use the app, but I'm going to start as a foundation from our website. And so the basic things right away, logging in, you just go to seedlinked.com, you land on this home page, and you click on this menu button up here. You can either log in if you already have a profile, or you can sign up. If you need to sign up, it's quick and easy to sign up. You provide your email, your name, your address. You submit that, and then you get an activation email that you'll need to go to your email that you signed up with and activate your account, and then you'll be good to go. So it's a pretty quick and simple process. One thing I want to point out is we asked for your address because when you submit reviews on the SeedLinked platform, we geolocate those to your growing zone. So it helps to have your address so we can know if you're in zone 4B or 7A, so that we can inform other people when you do reviews what zone you're in. And also if you're part of a collaborative trial, that we can send seeds to you. So once you create an account, you can just log in. And I'm just going to log into my personal SeedLinked account today. And this lands on the SeedLinked platform. And from here, I'm just going to go over a few things. The first thing that might be useful to you is up here, you can edit your profile. So if you click on your name, you can click on your profile. You can edit all of your personal information, your address. If you want to delete your account, you can do that there. You can update your password, and you can also change the privacy on your images if you want them to be public or private. We encourage you to have them be public because it feeds into our Seed Explorer, which I'll talk about in just a second. And now here's like an overview of the functionality of SeedLinked platform in general. Up along the top are all the tabs or areas that you're going to want to be, that you're going to be interested in accessing. And so those are Explore, Track, Share, and then we also have a Help tab that has lots of frequently asked questions, tutorials, and other things like that. And I'm just going to kind of go through each of those tabs and talk to you about how to use them. So I'm going to start with our Seed Explorer. And this one is kind of the culmination of all of SeedLinked. The idea behind the platform, like I said, is to crowdsource reviews of varieties and aggregate all of the performance reviews in one area so that anyone can come to our site and search them and have those reviews help guide them in what variety might perform best for their growing conditions. Currently, pretty much all of our data on the platform is from collaborative trials, seed companies, university organizations, reviewing varieties, having people review varieties on the platform. But we also want to encourage people to review things that they're just growing in their garden, and I'll show you how to do that today as well. But to start with, let's just use our seed search. Say we want to grow a beefsteak tomato. And so we're going to just type in tomato, and you see there's different market classes of tomatoes here that we can pick from. We're going to select beefsteak, and it's going to filter ones that are top rated are going to be towards the top. There's other filters that you can use here too. If you want a certain days to maturity for a variety, you can use this slider to change the days to maturity. If there's a trait that's really important to you, maybe you want the best tasting tomato that's out there, like we all do, you can say that you want a flavor score of no less than 4 stars and apply that, and it will filter your search as well. And then there's other filters over here as well that you can go through if you want organic or open pollinated hybrid. If you want from a particular distributor. If you're a certified organic grower and you only want to search for organic seeds, you can only search for organic seeds with that checkbox. If you only want to filter ratings by your hardiness zone, you can just click on only your hardiness zone and it will filter just reviews for your hardiness zone. If you're looking for specific disease resistance in a variety, you can click on disease resistance and click one of these and it will filter varieties that have that. And one thing I want to say about our search right now, I think we have about 6 or 7 catalogs on our search currently. By the end of the year, I think we hope to have about 16. And so this will be expanding more and more. If there's ever a variety that's not in our database, you can request it by going to our Help tab and request a variety and putting in information. But back to our Explore. Once we do our search for our beefsteak tomatoes, maybe we want to look at Cherokee Purple, a classic heirloom variety that I certainly love. And we can click on that and it has a description that's from a seed catalog's website. There's different images from different seed catalogs that you can go through here. The ratings for this one, for Cherokee Purple that have been submitted are aggregated here. If you want to filter only by your hardiness zone, you can do that. You can also scroll through comments that people have made that have rated this variety. And then you can see down here, there's seed companies that are listed on our Seed Explorer that carry Cherokee Purple, and you can click through to their website and purchase it. You can see which ones are in stock, and you can also see the different sizes and types as well. So that's how you use our seed search. We have another functionality that allows you to kind of build wish lists of what you're looking for. And so if you want to add a variety to a wish list, you hit Save to Wish List, and then you create a new one. So I'm just gonna say 2021 beefsteak tomatoes. And I think I've created a couple of these, so I'm going to add a 2 on the end. And so now I've created that wish list and I've also added Cherokee Purple to it. All right, and now I'm going to say, what about the other top rated varieties in the seed search? Maybe I want to add those to the wish list as well. And so I'm going to add Big Beef, Damsel, and then also Brandywine. And what wish lists allow you to do is they allow you to compare the varieties side by side for their specific traits. And so over on the left side here are all of the wish lists that I've created during my growing season. There's quite a few, but I can find the one that I just created, the 2021 beefsteak tomatoes 2. I'm going to click on that one, and you can edit or delete them here with that functionality. You can add another variety. And then a great thing here, like I mentioned, is comparing the varieties. So if you'd like to compare all 4 of these traits for their specific traits head to head, you hit the compare button and then go over here and hit the compare. And then this takes you to a page where you have all 4 varieties, and then it shows the traits stacked up next to each other. You can also filter for your hardiness zone. And then you can just, if you only want to look at flavor, say that's the most important thing to you, you can filter for flavor as well. And so our hope with the wish list functionality and the compare functionality is that it helps you kind of parse through different offerings and find the best variety for your growing conditions. And so I'm going to get out of my compare. And so that's the basic overview of the Seed Explorer tab. And now I'm going to switch over to talking about the Track tab. And the Track tab is where we actually submit reviews on SeedLinked. So there's 2 different ways that folks end up submitting reviews. The first one that I'm going to cover is just reviewing what they grow in their garden and farm. And I'm going to talk about how to set up those plantings. And then the other one is being part of a collaborative trial or a seed collections experience. And so we can see on my Track tab, I'm under my plantings here, and I have all of the plantings that I've made. The collaborative trials are in light green, and the plantings I've created myself are in white. And the other pieces that we can cover here is that we'll talk a little bit more about later is the trial invitations and the results over here on the left side. And so how do we get a planting of, say, what I'm growing in my garden in the backyard to the track tab so that we can review it? There's two ways to do this. One of them comes from our wish list that we just created. And so I'm just going to create a planting from the wish list that I just made for you all as an example. So I'm going to go back to the Explore tab, go back to my beefsteak tomato wish list, and now I'm going to select the track functionality. And if I don't want to track all of these, I can uncheck them. And then I'm going to go over here and say new planting. And this takes you to a stepper that guides you through the process of making a planting for your beefsteak tomatoes. You can add varieties, you can X out varieties. And so you'll name it, you'll add a description of maybe what your goals are, maybe finding the best tasting beefsteak tomato, and then you're going to hit the next button. This is where you pick the traits that you are going to evaluate for your planting. The top 3 traits in interviewing lots of farmers and gardeners that they're looking for are disease resistance, yield, and flavor. There's, as you can see, there's a lot more traits than that, so feel free to pick as many or as few as you'd like. And you can move on. There's some trial or plantings that I've set up where I'll have 7 or 8 different traits I want to evaluate, or sometimes I'll keep it simple. So, but if you do 3, do disease resistance, flavor, and yield. And then this next page is where you can invite other people. And if there's other people in your family that you want to have rate a planting in your garden, or if you have employees on your farm and you want to have them rate a planting, you can add their email here and they'll be sent a link on SeedLinked to rate that planting as well. And since I'm the only one evaluating this one, I'll just have myself on there. And then this last screen is where you finalize everything. You can scroll through all the traits, the varieties, and you can go back and edit them. Once you're all set, you hit publish, and now we see that the beefsteak tomatoes planting that I just created is now on my track tab. If you ever want to edit or delete this planting, you can go over here to the gear and hit the edit or delete button. Yeah, so that's how you create a planting of what you're growing in your backyard. That's the way through making a wish list. There's a shortcut to doing that on the track tab. So if you go to the track tab and there's this little button up here that says new, and if you click that, it takes you to the stepper to create a planting. With this one, you have to add every variety that that you want to add to the planting since you didn't use a wish list to start with. And again, I want to reiterate, if there's a variety that you're growing that you want to have or want to be able to add that's not in the SeedLinked database, go to our help tab and fill out the add a variety form to be able to do that. So I'm just going to X out of this. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about actually submitting ratings for a planting or for a trial as well, if you're part of that. And so again, over here on the left, you can sort all of your plantings by crop type, if that's helpful. So I'm just going to filter by tomato plantings for this year. And then here's my beefsteak tomato planting that I just created. When you want to rate it, you're going to click on the review button. And this takes you to the page where you submit your reviews. And one trick that we just put on here is if you have your varieties in a different order than what we pre-populated them, you can kind of drag them and move them around. I know that this was very helpful to me in rating a bunch of varieties. One piece.
Hey, honey.
Here, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna mute some. I'm gonna mute that person real quick. So this is the pane where you enter your actual reviews and enter dates. One piece down here is there's a progress bar for what you need to do to complete your planting and complete your reviews. This has little guides on what each trait means. So you can look at this to help guide you through the process. But when you're reviewing a variety, we're going to ask you to share a bunch of dates related to planting date, transplanting date, first harvest, and last harvest. We're going to ask that you share photos. I'm going to let somebody in here. Photos, open comments, report failure, and then the specific traits. So this is the button here that you click on to add specific dates. To the person that just joined the presentation, if you could mute yourself, that would be great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where do you do that?
I can also help here.
Got it.
I think we're all set there. And so back to this pane where you can add dates. There's planting date, transplanting date, first harvest, and last harvest. And I'm just going to enter in some dummy dates here. Hey, for the person that just entered, if you could mute yourself, that would be fantastic. And anytime that these are the same for all the varieties in your planting, you can hit apply to all the varieties in this planting, and it will automatically populate it to all of them. Why dates are so important is that it helps us calculate the days to maturity for each variety in your growing zone. And so I encourage you to come back to the platform and enter dates and ratings throughout the season. The next feature is right here. There's a camera icon, and you can click on it and you can upload photos of each variety. I'm going to show you a little bit later on how to use the SeedLinked app to do this, which I prefer greatly for adding photos because it's so much faster than downloading photos onto your computer and then manually uploading them. It's much more simple in the app, but if you go that route, that is available right there. If you have any open comments during the season and want to share maybe comments on disease, or if the flavor was just out of this world, you can add those comments here. If a variety dies while you are growing it and you can't rate it anymore, you can mark it as failed. And so you can disable it, and so you don't have to rate it anymore. And so I'm just going to re-enable this one just for the purposes of the webinar. And then over here in the columns are the different traits that you either picked to rate or your trial manager asked you to rate. And to enter a rating for a variety, you're just going to hit the rate button, and this pop-up is going to come. Each trait is on a scale of 1 to 5, and you can enter a rating in and also type a reason in there, no disease. And then you hit save, and that populates. And so you're going to do this for each trait in the trial. You can rate a trait for a given variety more than once by just clicking on it again. And here you see you can edit or delete a rating. But say for disease resistance, you might want to add 2 different ratings, maybe one at first fruit harvest and one at second harvest, and you can write why. But that is how you add ratings, and it's pretty easy to click through. You can also do these on the app. I'm not going to fill out all the ratings for these particular varieties, just in the to save some time here on our webinar. But once you have entered all of your dates, uploaded photos, had comments, and evaluated all the specific traits in your trial, you will see that your progress bar will be to 93% completed, and there'll be one thing left to do, and that will be to complete your review. And you do that by clicking this button up here. And once you click that button, there's a last survey about each variety. Would you like to grow the variety again? You can go through and just say, I don't know, don't think too much about it. Just click if you'd grow the variety again, enter final comments, and also maybe add a smiley rating and continue. And the last piece is a management survey. whether the grow out was good, if you used a trellis or cover crop. It's pretty easy to click through these. And you can also add comments about management as well. And once you're all done, you can complete the trial. And once you complete your trial, it will actually move it from your plantings to your results tab. And I'll talk more about the results tab in just a moment. But if we go back to our plantings, we see that the beefsteak planting is no longer here anymore. And it is now actually going to be in the results tab here. If you completed your trial and forgot to enter photos or want to change a rating, you can go into the results and find your planting and click on this gear and say edit your reviews. And if you do that, it will kick the planting back over to your plantings and you can review them once again. So that's how you review all the crops that you're growing in your garden. You just create a planting for each crop type. And I just want to encourage you all, if you feel so inclined, to rate what you're growing. It'd be super helpful because it helps fuel our Seed Explorer and help your ratings inform other people of what grow. And so that's how you rate what you're growing in your garden. I'm going to cover also how to participate in collaborative trials. Many of you are probably very familiar with what collaborative trials are and are part of them on SeedLinked. But for those of you that are not, there's a bunch of different universities, seed companies, trialing organizations that run collaborative trials and want people across geography to grow varieties and give their feedback on how they perform in their location. And these trial managers can invite people to the trials. They'll send them free seed, and then the folks are asked to plant them in their garden or at their farm, and then come on the SeedLinked platform and evaluate them. And I'm just going to cover, there's two ways that you can get invited to a trial. One of them is by an email invitation. And so I've already pulled up an email invitation for a trial in my personal Gmail, and it will look like this: SeedLinked trial invitation. You'll get it, and it will say the trial name, a description, crop, and then if you don't have an account yet, you can create an account, or if you already have an account, you can hit log in and accept the trial. So I am going to do that. And once I log in and accept the trial, it's going to take me to the track tab to my trial invitations. And you can see I have a notification here. And this is the trial. I can either decline or accept and join the trial. And so I'm going to say accept and join the trial, and it gets added to my plantings. The other way that you can get invited to a SeedLinked collaborative trial is through an open invitation. An organization that you follow or are part of might post a link to an open invitation like this through their email list on their website. You can just go through here and enter your first and last name in your email and join the trial. Make sure you use your email that you have your SeedLinked account created with. If you don't have a SeedLinked account, you'll get sent an email asking you to create one so that you can participate in the trial. And so once you've indicated that you're interested in participating in a collaborative trial, the status will be requested, and once the trial manager finalizes the trial and decides that they're going to send out seeds and that you are a part of it, then this will change to review and you'll be able to review it. You'll also get an email that says seeds are getting sent out, look for them in the mail. And yeah, so that's how you confirm that you want to be part of a trial. And once you get your seeds and start them and grow them, reviewing them on SeedLinked is exactly the same as what it would be like for growing or reviewing your own garden. And so I'm going to go to a collaborative trial that SeedLinked has put on this year with indeterminate paste tomatoes. And so if I click on the review button, it takes me to the same exact screen that you saw before, but with the varieties that are in that trial. The other piece that's a little bit different is there's a map that shows all the different people that are in that trial for this year. And so just go through and enter dates, photos, comments, and rate the traits, and let the progress bar be your guide on completing those. One functionality that I want to show you that's really helpful with collaborative trials is the concept of adding a check variety. And I'll use this paste tomato collaborative trial as an example. We have this function. If you click the gear, you can say add edit a check variety. And what a check variety is maybe a standard variety or a benchmark variety that you always grow. When it comes to paste tomatoes, I always grow Amish paste. And that's one that's always in my garden that I use for making tomato sauce and salsa and stuff like that. And so I'm going to add Amish paste as a check variety to this trial, and I'm going to grow it alongside the other ones in this trial and have that be a benchmark for what disease resistance looks like, or yield, or flavor. It's really helpful for trial managers to have that different or have that benchmark when you're rating varieties on the platform. And anytime you want to delete a check variety, you can just by hitting the trash button. But I'm going to close this and I'm going to go to the review, and you can see that I've added Amish paste as my check variety here as well. And we can go through and add dates, photos, and rate them as well. And again, the process is the same. Once you're all done, you're going to complete your review, and then it's going to kick your trial over to the results tab. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about the results tab. And again, this is on the track tab, results. You can filter your results by crop or by year. And I'm going to go back to a trial that SeedLinked put on in 2020 that I was part of for Saladette tomatoes. And so I can see this trial and I click on the results. And here it pulls up a graph of all the varieties that were in the trial and their overall ratings. If I want to filter just for a specific trait, I can uncheck all of these and maybe just select flavor and find the best tasting Saladette tomato. If I want to filter results by just farmer or gardener reviews, I can do that. If I want to filter results by just hardiness zone, I can do that as well. Maybe one's better adapted to my growing conditions. And then we can also filter out specific varieties. Over here on the right side, there's a pie graphs, that question that you answer at the end of your review of if you would grow this variety again. You can see overall for each variety what people's perceptions are. You can see photos for each variety that are uploaded for that trial. And you can also see comments. And our hope here with having the results accessible to all trial participants is that you too can learn from these collaborative trials and find varieties that maybe taste the best, maybe have the best disease resistance, have great yield, and essentially are going to perform the best on your garden or in your farm. And so that is a whirlwind view of the Explore and Track tabs. I'll talk about Share in just a little bit, but now I'm going to switch over to screen sharing on the app. And so I'm going to take a moment here to toggle off of this screen share, and I'm going to add the screen share from my cell phone to show you all the SeedLinked app. And so I think everyone's got that there. All right. And so SeedLinked has an app for both Android and iPhone devices, whether that be a mobile phone or a tablet. You can download the SeedLinked app for free wherever you get your apps. And once you download the app, you're just going to install it on your phone, and you can open it. And the app has all the same functionality of the web platform, but they're organized in a little bit different way, and I just want to take you through what that looks like. And so our Explorer function has all the same filters, and we can do like we did before and search for beefsteak tomatoes. And when we click on them, we can add them to wish lists and whatnot and look at the reviews. The thing that's a little bit different, and one thing I want to show is all the different specific areas of SeedLinked are on the bottom or across the bottom of the screen. So there's feed, explore, wishlist, track, and results. So I'm in the Explorer right now. Wishlist has its own tab on the app, and we can click over to my wishlist tab, and I can see that wish list that I made for this webinar, and I can use the compare function and track varieties, and this is how you would create a planting on your mobile device that would be in the track tab. And then on your track tab, we have the trial invites if you have any trials to accept, and then also your plantings. And each of these cards is a planting that you can review. If you want to review it, you just click on it and it will take you to this screen. You can toggle between traits across the top by just clicking on them. And then what's a little bit limiting about this is you can't see where my finger is pointing on my smartphone right now. But for each variety, you can say for disease resistance, you can go through and enter your reviews. If you want to update them at all, you can go in here and update, add a comment, or create another review as well. If you want to add dates or photos, you click on the 3 dots to the right of the variety name, and this functionality comes up. You can click on track dates, and you can enter planting date, transplant date, first harvest, last harvest. You can also go there and add images, and this is the function that really sets the app apart for me, is you can just say, I have this variety of dry bean growing in my backyard garden right now. I can just walk out in the backyard to that variety, click on it, add images, and then I say, use my camera, and you can see there's a picture of my computer in front of you. But if I was at the bean plants, I could take a photo and it would automatically upload it and tag it with that variety name. So it saves tons of time if you're adding photos for your reviews to use the app. So I highly encourage you to download the app and use that functionality. I know I've been adding a lot more images to my reviews because it's so easy to add them. And on the app, when you're done adding your dates, images, and comments, you can complete the trial by hitting the blue button there on the bottom of the screen. And one other thing too is you can also add check varieties by, if you're in this view right here of the cards and you hit the 3 dots in the right upper right of the card, you can add a check variety or look at the description. If it is your own planting, let me find one that is my own planting. You can also edit or delete the planting with that button as well. So that is the Explore tab on mobile. Results are pretty similar as well. It's its own tab here in the bottom right of the screen. You can filter by crop type or by year. And let's just go and find that saladette tomato trial that I showed you on the desktop. And here we can filter our reviews by specific traits, by my growing zone, and hopefully that can help you kind of decide which one you might like to grow in the future. The last piece that I want to mention related to the app and the web-based version of SeedLinked is that we're going to have a social media component of SeedLinked in the very near future. I want to say the next month, cross your fingers that it's going to happen. We're going to start out by offering this functionality to anyone that's in collaborative trials. And so if you're in a collaborative trial, you'll be able to interact with other trial participants, post questions, updates, recommendations, post photos. Your trial manager will be able to send you notes through the platform in that sort of way. And anyone that's on the SeedLinked email list will get first notified about when the community feed is all up and running for trial participants. And in the future, we hope that it will open it up to everyone, and you can kind of build community and talk to other gardeners and farmers and learn from each other on our feed. The feed will be first featured in our app, and then we'll also have it for the online web platform as well. So anyhow, stay tuned to our newsletter for when that is going to come out. And I just realized I forgot one thing about the app that I want to show you. We have an offline app usage mode if you have bad service or you don't have internet, and it won't connect to the app. How you can go into offline mode is just go to your settings and turn your phone in airplane mode. I'm not going to do it for this webinar because I'll no longer be screen sharing with anyone. So you just turn your phone on airplane mode, you go back to the app, you complete all of your reviews. When you know that you have service again, you take your phone off airplane mode, open the SeedLinked app, and it will automatically upload all your photos and your reviews to the platform. That was one thing that we had feedback from a lot of participants in the last year, and they were interested in having us have that mode, and so we did add it when we released the brand new app this spring. So that's an overview of SeedLinked, the app and the community feed, and it looks like I'm right on time. I was hoping for about 15 minutes for questions and answers here at the end. So I'm going to unshare my screen share, and there's one person that's interested in coming into the meeting. And I'm going to start out by answering a few questions that are in our chat. So thank you all for submitting questions in the chat. And I will start by, the first question is from Rebecca. Is there any difference in the platform functionality for farmers versus gardener accounts? The answer is no, there's no difference in functionality. We just wanted to create that category so people could filter results that people are entering in. If farmers have asked that they ask to be able to differentiate that in case they're looking for farmer reviews, and maybe gardeners are looking for other things. And so we just created that category, but the functionality is all the same for farmers and gardeners. Another person said, I can't log in on Firefox, but Chrome works. One thing that I'll let you know, I have never developed software before I had this job, and it's always a bit of an adventure. There's always little bugs that come up, and as a startup business, if you're having a problem, it's really helpful if you reach out to us and let us know what your problem is, and we can try to get to the bottom of it. Sometimes login won't work on certain browsers because the browser hasn't been updated, et cetera, but I encourage the person that asked this question, Over Yonder Field is their handle on Teams, to just get in touch with us, and I'll share contact that you can reach out to me, and I can help you one-on-one with that. The next question is from Lana, and she asks, on the trials, can we see other people's results? The answer on the results tab is it's all aggregated. So everyone's results are pooled together and the data is crunched for those ones. But when you're entering your actual trials and you're participating in it before you complete it, we don't want to show you the results as they're coming in so they don't skew your perceptions. But you can view the aggregate results of everyone at the end of the trial. And Rebecca has another question. If we have an event attendees who are neither farmer, gardener, rating varieties, would this skew the trial data? And I'm assuming you're asking about creating self-plantings and asking people to rate them. I guess this goes a bit into trial philosophy. we've actually found that people's first impressions and kind of knee-jerk ratings for different traits are actually quite accurate. And so I think it's great to have as many people as possible rate varieties if they feel comfortable. One thing that community science really focuses on is that you don't need to have a PhD or a master's to evaluate things. You can be a gardener who's very passionate about it, like myself, and have great input and be quite accurate on your ratings as well. So I encourage anyone who has an inkling to share reviews to do so on the platform. And then Judith has a question. I did a trial for Seed Savers Exchange lettuces and I completed the review on my laptop last week. I just opened the app on my iPhone and there's a button asking me to complete the trial. Aren't the app and the website being synced? And again, this is another instance where it's great if you share this feedback with us. They should be synced and everything should be the same on the app as compared to the web. And as you can see, when I did the screen share on the app, we could see things that I had done on the web beforehand. So if you are seeing any weird glitches like that, feel free to let us know and we can try to get to the bottom of it. The one thing that's really helpful for that is adding a screenshot on your computer or on your phone and trying to describe it, the process that led you to that piece. But Judith, the answer to your question is that they should be synced, and for some reason they're not. So feel free to get back in touch with us. Over Yonder Field asks, the location on your map is inaccurate. How can I fix that? And why is it wrong? And again, going back to just little glitches in software, you feel free to email me. I'll share 2 different emails that you can reach me on when we get to the end of the presentation, and we can get to the bottom of it. But we've had a few little glitches here and there with the map, depending maybe on how it's been entered in. And then maybe if you're in a different, if you're in a country other than the United States, sometimes that can have an impact on whether it's inaccurate, but we want to hear from you so that we can fix it. Sue asked, for seed trials, can I request organic seeds? This is a really good question. I don't necessarily know the answer to that, as I'm not super well versed in certified organic growers. Sue, if you reach out to me, there's someone on our team that has worked as an organic certifier, and I believe that there's some sort of exemption for trials for using non-organic seeds, and it being okay with your certification. But if you're really wanting organic seeds, you'd have to get in touch with the trial manager directly to make sure that is something that you're going to get when you're part of the trial. Omar, he asked, do you plan to expand the platform beyond North America? And our answer right now is that we're really focusing on North America. There has been a lot of interest overseas, and there's the potential to add a few countries that are in Europe in the near future. But those are in the works, and we'll announce when that happens over our email list. There's been interest about SeedLinked all over the world, which has been quite exciting. It seems like a technology that people are ready for and excited about. So, but stay tuned, and hopefully we'll have the bandwidth to keep expanding the platform so other people across the globe can also use it. And then Sue says, why can't I find the trial seed varieties in the SeedLinked catalogs? And I think you're referring to a variety that you have in a trial that you can't find on our Seed Explorer, I believe, Sue. And so sometimes with trials, trialing organizations are using experimental varieties or non-commercially released varieties for their trials. And so sometimes they won't be searchable in the Seed Explorer. So hopefully that answers your question. You also asked, is the hardiness zone automatically set by the address given at registration? And the answer to that question is yes. If you change your address in your profile settings, the hardiness zone should change for going out into the future. And then we have a few more questions, and we just have 5 minutes left, so I'm going to try to get through all these last ones. Thank you all for typing in your questions on the chat. I really appreciate it. Sometimes the traits have vague descriptions. Can we ask for some clarification somewhere? I totally understand this. Feel free to reach out to help@seedlinked.com. We are always happy to provide you with some guidance on those sorts of things. And I'll throw up a PowerPoint slide here with some contact information for getting in touch with us. I'll screen share. And so you should be able to see that. There's a picture of me meditating with tomatoes. I thought I'd add a little bit of some funniness to the presentation. But if you need any help with your profile or have any questions, email help@seedlinked.com. Those emails will come to me, and I'm happy to help you out with that. And then for feedback on the platform, if you have any ideas how to improve flow or features, you can also email that email too. Kathy asked a question for flavor. It seems it would be fun to see ratings of sweetness, sugar content, bitterness, smoky, and so on. That's great feedback. There's actually part of our platform that participants don't have access to, where you can do public tastings and people can use their smartphones. And we have all those types of flavor traits that people can evaluate. We haven't released this functionality to gardeners and farmers yet. It's just for trial managers. But that's great that you're thinking about that, because flavor is more complicated than rating flavor for 1 to 5 stars. There's a lot of different nuances there. And so if you're interested in that aspect of the platform, you can feel free to email me at help@seedlinked.com and I can provide you with some information. Omar asked another question, and we just have 3 minutes, so I'm just going to try to get through these last few ones. Can organizations working on developing new varieties upload their portfolio catalog to SeedLinked in bulk of having to upload individual varieties? That's a great question, Omar. Yes, just email me. We can send you an Excel template, and then you can send it back to us, and we can do mass uploads of varieties to the platform, so we can make it much easier. My litmus is if you have 10 or more varieties to add to the platform, just email us and we can send you that Excel template. Craig asked a question, in a trial that is widely spread across the country into different zones, will it be SeedLinked folks, or will we in the trials have the ability to dig into the data to start looking at how performance of varieties varies for those areas? Oh, that is a good question, Craig. And part of the reason why we created the SeedLinked platform, in all honesty, I know we all talk about regional performance and what varieties perform best in regions, and that all varieties don't perform the same across the whole entire country like the United States or North America. Our hope is that from the participant side, you're able to filter those results by your growing zone and find one that grows the best for you. But yeah, it will be us at SeedLinked that kind of look at those specific trends across geography and kind of dig into that. And what's so exciting about the SeedLinked platform is when we have so many people submitting data, we can just start mining it and finding out different things and really having a lot more prescriptive recommendations for what people should grow in different regions. And so, Craig, your question gets to the heart of it. Feel free to email us if you want to dig into that more at the end of a growing season. We usually have a lot of time in the winter to kind of dig into that data. And then Omar just says, thank you. And then there's a couple other pieces. And I don't see any more questions, and we're right at 7 o'clock right now. So I just want to finish by saying thank you to everyone for joining the webinar. Again, this is being recorded, and I'll send out a link to the recording to everyone tomorrow morning as soon as I upload it to YouTube. If you have any questions, have any feedback on the platform, the email addresses you can get in touch with us at are right there. And I just want to encourage you all to get familiar with the SeedLinked platform, rate a few varieties that you're growing in your garden or at your farm on the platform. Together, when we create all of this collective data, we really are helping each other and kind of fueling the future of being able to find seeds that perform best in our location. So thank you for the time tonight, and look forward to seeing you on the SeedLinked platform in the future. Take care, everybody, and hope you have a great growing season.